Welcome everyone, thank you very much for joining me on my pre-match show. I'm joined by the absolute legend Stel from the mighty West Ham. Anyway, mate, thank you very much for coming on, mate.
Thanks for inviting us, mate. A lot of pleasure. Cheers.
Yeah, make sure you do check out their channel anyway. I'll leave everything in the links in the description anyway. I implore you to go and check out, subscribe to their channel, any amazing channel up there down south. But mate, thank you very much for coming on, mate. It's two teams that are in two very different situations in terms of the Premier League, mate. But thank you very much for coming on. I wanted to gauge your thoughts on how West Ham, the West Ham opposition preview for you, mate. I want to get as much information out, as much as you want to say anyway, mate. But how are you faring under the new appointment of David Moyes?
Well, I don't think any of us saw it coming at the beginning of the season. I mean, last season under Pellegrini, we finished 10th, and ironically, a lot of us were moaning at the fact that we only finished 10th. And yet now that looks like a massive achievement for West Ham. And then we started off this season, first 6 games, we were doing really well. And then off we go to the League Cup and get battered by Oxford. I was there that night. And then all of a sudden, everything just went downhill. And I don't think anyone really saw it coming, to be honest with you. So it's been quite a disastrous last, 3 months or so. It's just gone from one bad thing to another, being a West Ham fan. And with Moyes now, the one thing that with Moyes is he's steady. He ain't going to be exciting. He's certainly not a Jurgen Klopp, but he's steady. And if he manages to keep us up, which is what we're now doing, then he would have done a good job, because we're languishing quite badly at the moment. Then we've got you guys coming up twice in the next month, and then Man City in between as well. So it's not looking good for us, is it really?
Yeah, in terms of the tactical aspect, mate, in terms of David Moyes, really is he steadied the ship down in terms of? I know he's not had long to take over, but have you seen the improvement?
The one thing I think we'd like to see him do is we'd like to see him go a bit risky and play 2 up front. Because when he was with us a couple of seasons back, he changed the formation, and he started to play a 3-5-2 or a 3-5-1-1, and it kind of worked for us. We had an Artovich then, who used to play up front on his own. And he's quite, he put himself about, so he quite liked that sort of role. But we don't have the players to do that now. So Moyes has tried a 3-5-2 a 3-5-1-1 a couple of times, but it ain't quite worked because we don't really have the players to play that system. I think what we'd like to see, he's certainly, apart from the odd disaster, he's certainly against like Leicester when they thrashed us 4-1. We haven't conceded quite as many goals as we were doing under Pellegrini. But what we like as fans, we like him to sort of stick to we like him to do a traditional 4-4-2, to be honest with you, because I think those are we got those types of players that will play that system. So in some respects, yeah, he has steadied the ship a bit, but it's still not been reaping reward. We've been unlucky, against Sheffield, that controversial handball. That could have been quite different for us. And I think really the only game that we haven't really shown up for since Moyes has arrived was Leicester. We kind of went out there thinking we were going to get beat, and we did. We got thrashed, and even the Wolves game, we were pretty poor in the. Sorry, not Wolves. West Brom game. Yeah. We were pretty poor in the first half, but the last 20 minutes we turned up. But a team can't turn up in 20 minutes. The team's got to turn up the whole game.
No, I think he's a seed improvement anyway. I think from an outsider point of view, I was impressed with West Ham. Obviously, Pellegrini, it wasn't really happening under him. In terms of, it's down to the players as well, in terms of them. But David Moyes, I seen him at Everton, grew up obviously over the road anyway at Stanley Park. When he was at Everton over the last 10, 12 years, however long he was there, you knew a stability in terms of a defensive approach. It didn't happen for him at United, mate. But I think it's a great appointment for you in terms of. It's great that you mentioned in terms of the formation. This season, Liverpool, in terms, we've come up against Napoli, who played three at the back, a couple of sides, United, Tottenham as well. They have tested the 3-5-2, or like more or less five. It can switch to a 5 back anyway, mate. But could you see, in terms of, you've mentioned the 4-4-2 formation, could you see an approach in where it depends, obviously, your players that are available, mate, tomorrow? Could you see the 3 back / 5 back being a?
I don't think so, because a 3-5-2 will only work if we've got Fredericks and Masuaku who can play wing backs, and they're both out injured. Oh. You know, Fredericks has been out injured for a couple of weeks. Masuaku picked up a knock during the Leicester game, and it's 50-50 whether he'll make it tomorrow. But even if he does, we've still got a problem with the right back slot, because we've got Zabaleta, who's been a great servant to West Ham, but you can't expect a 35-year-old to keep bombing it up and down the wing. You know, it just can't happen. So I doubt very much we'll play a 3-5-1-1 formation tomorrow. I'm guessing he's gonna, Moyes is gonna have to play 4 at the back, but it's what he decides to do further forward. And he may gamble tomorrow, in a way against you guys. We've got nothing to lose. We've lost marginally against you the last few years. 4-0, 4-1, 4-0.
It was the draw last season. Obviously, I think remember when I was speaking.
Unlucky. Yeah. We were unlucky last season, and if VAR had been in last season, you wouldn't have got that goal. Because you were well offside. I can't remember who it was, but it was well offside.
The whole body offside. I think it was Lallana, wasn't he?
Yeah. But I mean, that apart from that game, you guys have sort of like, I've got some stats between the two teams, and since 2014, ironically, we've won 4 and you've won 6. So we're closer. But then when you look at the last 5 games, you've scored 13 goals against us. And so whereas you've stepped up massive steps, we've gone sort of down the other way. So
who do you reckon? What forward players? No, it's boss that, mate. Statman. In terms of what forward players for you who's playing up front? Who's available for the Hammers?
We've got Allaire. Our star signing at £45 million. And then it really depends on who Moyes decides to play alongside him. If Antonio's fit, Antonio will probably start, alongside him, because when we played West Brom at the weekend, we kind of changed. We were so poor in the first half, but Antonio came on and he played closer up front to Allaire, and we kind of started to look like a different team. And I'll be honest with you, if there's anything that we can do against you guys is have a bit of pace, and Antonio's got that, but he's the only player at the moment that we've got in our side that's got any pace, because all our other players with pace are also out injured. So it's not a great time in terms of having any pace in our team. So I reckon Antonio will start up front with Allaire tomorrow.
I'm really interested in that, mate. Obviously, in terms of when I'm trying to obviously I do a show for you later. In terms of when you do look at Liverpool, when you've got Joe Gomez, Mane won't be playing tomorrow anyway. He's out injured, so obviously Divock Origi might step in, looking like anyway. In terms of him playing up front, but obviously you got the likes of Firmino and Salah. But in terms of Liverpool this season, especially, it'd be interesting if Moyes goes for more of a physical approach, or obviously due to not having enough pace anyway. But I think that's a battle in which Joe Gomez and Van Dijk, they're so quick anyway. I think you only have to watch them, and just such big fellas and just quick over the. You look at them and you're like, they're not going to be that quick, but strikers really struggle.
But that's the good thing about Antonio. He's physical, Antonio's not the most graceful of footballers, but he's got pace, and he's got his physique. The way he plays. We kind of, he's you know, we know he's not the most skillful, you know, but when he gets the ball, he excites West Ham fans, you know, because he can take on the likes of Van Dijk and Gomez and give them a run for their money. But what he needs is he needs support around him, you know, and what we need is Allaire to be a lot closer to him tomorrow night if they both play up front together. And that could cause you problems, you know. But then we've got to worry about what's going on the other side of the pitch as well.
Is Lanzini still fit for you, mate? I'm not too sure. Is he still?
Yeah, but he's lost so much form. You know, there's a massive debate at the moment amongst West Ham fans about, you know, whether Lanzini should even start games. You know, even though we've got quite a lot of injuries, he seems to, ever since he's come back from his major injury, he seems to be, you know, he seems to have lost a lot of form, a little bit of pace as well. You kind of think, you know, when you get such a really bad injury in football, I think that's always in the back of your mind, and maybe that's affecting Lanzini's performances. Doesn't really go in much for the ball, you know, and he tries, but sometimes things don't come off for him. So he's there, but we've got Fornals as well, who's been getting better and better. You know,
The Spanish lad.
The Spanish lad, yeah. And he's decent, you know, and ironically, Moyes has kind of dropped him since he's arrived. He's favoured Lanzini over Fornals, and had this been at the beginning of the season, all the West Ham fans would have gone, yeah, fair dues, because Fornals wasn't doing it. But lately, Fornals has been a lot better, and yet Moyes has dropped him. I think Moyes is thinking about the last time he was here, and Lanzini was one of his better players. So he's probably thinking about, you know, how he played for him, you know, previous time he was here. But Lanzini is it's a shame because, you know, when he wants, he can turn it on, but he hasn't been doing it lately.
It's frustrating when you see players like that, isn't it? In terms, especially playing for your club. Sorry, mate. I was just getting your lineup from was it the Leicester game? In terms of Declan Rice, absolutely love Declan as a player. In terms of how's his progression been over the last 6 months? Has he really pushed on?
Yeah, he has pushed on. You know, he's one of our, you know, he's one of our shining lights, isn't he? You know, when we saw him coming in and the way he was actually used slowly over the you know, from the start of his career, he was used in the right way. He was used sparingly. You know, we didn't rush him in. You know, got him accustomed to being around the first team. You know, he started a few games and he was dropped, and then we all wondered why. And then it was quite sensible, realizing there was, you know, for a young player, you know, playing him too many times could have been a bad thing. And now he's just, you know, he's one of the first names on the team sheet, and he's a great player. And we all know if we go down, there's going to be a whole host of teams that will go after him. You know, but yeah, he's come on really well. He's an excellent player. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. In terms of obviously Mark Noble, who's been continuously West Ham through and through. In terms of Snodgrass as well, and looking at is Cresswell been playing centre back for you, or is he?
Cresswell, well, he was used. It was a bit of confusing. I think one of Moyes' first few games, it was a bit confusing whether Cresswell was playing left back or he was playing as part of a back four. But he's been mainly playing, like I said, because we don't actually have the players to do a 3-5-2. Cresswell's been mainly playing at left back, so I kind of expect Zabaleta and Cresswell to be either side of Ogbonna, if Ogbonna gets over his back injury, and probably Diop will play at the back for us. Snodgrass, I think, is 50-50 because he had a knock as well, but he may be back. But I think our biggest return is our keeper. He should be playing tomorrow, fingers crossed. You know, and if he does, you know, there may be a little shining light for us there.
Yeah, no, it was perfect time, really, mate, in terms of talking about goalkeepers. How can you didn't keep hold of Adrian?
Adrian didn't. The whole story of Adrian is we offered him a deal to stay. He didn't want to stay because he didn't want to stay as a second choice. And he was on the brink of signing for a team in Spain. I don't know which one, but and he was almost going to take something like half his wages were going to be cut by going there. The new guys came in and went, why don't you become our number two? Now, who's going to turn you down? You know, and also, you know, I think he was on more or less the same wages as what he was being paid at West Ham. So the choice was, okay, I'll go in as number 2 at Liverpool, or I'll take a massive pay cut and go in as number 1 for some low team in Spain. And so you guys came in for him, and we wanted him to stay. You know, we wanted him to stay. He quite rightly turned around and said, "I want first team football," and we went, "All right." And then all of a sudden, you guys turn up.
I tell you what, yeah,
We've seen it.
I'm gutted. He's been possibly, since I've been a Liverpool fan, since I've been born, I think Liverpool's second best backup goalie. Because I tell you what, he could be number 1 goalkeeper for the majority of the rest of the Premier League teams.
Totally agree. Totally agree.
His attitude's amazing as well, but in terms of his quality, he's absolutely amazing.
But he did some mad things for us when he was at West Ham, because there was, I mean, we've just re-signed Darren Randolph. And when Randolph and Adrian were there, Bilic, who was managing us at the time, couldn't really decide who was really the number 1 keeper. So Adrian would come in, play a few games, make a mistake. Randolph will come in, play a few games, make a mistake, and kept switching. I was always an Adrian fan. I mean, you know, we loved the guy, his character and everything. You know, he was just an amazing character to have. And I think a lot of us were, as a number 2, we would have loved to have kept him. And the massive irony is, Fabianski's been out for so long this season. Adrian would have played a whole host of games. That's the irony, you know. So, but there you go. But good luck to him. I mean, he's going to walk away with a league winners medal, you know, this season. And good on him. Well, I don't think you. How many points are you ahead? About 80 points.
60. It might be about 70 by tomorrow anyway. But I don't know. We're trying to not jinx it. Everyone knows what we've done in the past years anyway. But I was on the fence a couple of weeks back, but I think if we continue what we've been doing, mate, this would be another tricky game. Last season, it was around this time, we had our couple of draws, and it really cost us in terms of obviously losing to City. It's staggering, the football in which we're playing, mate. Just enjoying it. What have you been impressed from obviously a neutral, like, in terms of the football?
Who can't be? You know, the way you guys are playing. I mean, you're knocking spots off everyone, and even if you put in your B team out, you know, they're doing just as well as your first team are, and it's yeah, of course it's a joy to watch. Any real football fan will tell you it's a pleasure to watch a really good team play. You know, and I've seen, you know, I'm old enough to remember like Man United. I know you don't want me to say it, but Man United's team of the 90s, and how brilliant they were and doing the trade.
Oh, it's all right. I grew up with them winning title after title.
Yeah. And then you got like the Barcelonas and the Real Madrids, and if Klopp stays, I mean, I don't know what his plans are. I'm guessing he's there for the long term.
Yeah, he signed a new 4-year deal as well. So.
Right. I mean, there's no saying that you guys can't go on a major run of just being like certainly the top team in the Premier League, and who knows, maybe the top team in Europe as well. You know, I mean, you've done the Champions League as well, so it'd be interesting to see how you guys progress. I mean, I think the only team at the moment, realistically, in the Premier League that's going to come anywhere close to you, if not this season, but certainly seasons ahead, are Man City. You know, because all the other teams around you, they've got a lot to catch up on, you know, and you sort of kind of look at, you know, the Man Uniteds and Chelsea and stuff, and Arsenal. I mean, look at Arsenal, how poor they've been.
It's mad. We're very thankful for what Jurgen's done over there. He's got it right, I think, in terms of his recruitment and everything, in terms of every single player. Like Adrian's second choice goalkeeper, but he's brought him in, he's created an atmosphere, really. But in terms of, for years before we got Klopp, there was so many stuff happening wrong off the pitch, director of football and everything, but everything's just clicked over the last 4 years. And in terms of, like, you've got David Moyes, if your boards are willing to give Moyes the money, financing, there's no reason why you can't really get stability in terms of getting back up to 10th where you were last year.
I think that's the big issue at the moment, though, Jack, because I think we're going through what you guys went through with the Spirit of Shankly. What was that, 10 years ago or a bit longer? And how you were demonstrating against the board back then and unhappy with the way that the board were managing the club and you quite rightly sort of like, you know, you came out in your droves and you made a change. And what's going through with West Ham at the moment is pretty similar. I mean, there are some fan groups, Hammers United, for example, who are, trying to protest about what's going on. The current board have owned us for 10 years, and there's been, the biggest thing they did, of course, was move us out of the bowling,
Yeah. I was gutted for you. I didn't really want you to move.
All gutted because, there were opportunities to extend that ground, but the board would have had to spend some real money. And it would have cost us, I don't know, I can't remember the exact figures, but in order to rebuild that stadium and make it, I think, something like a 45,000 seater stadium, which for West Ham would have been fine, it would have cost a small fortune. But, they went for the Olympic Stadium. I don't know if you've been to an away game there, mate, but...
no, a couple of my mates, I've seen it, I need to go down, but it's like modern day. I've seen it when the Olympics as well, but I said, that's not going to be a football ground, is it? But it doesn't feel like, because I absolutely loved Upton Park. Absolutely classic grounds. Like, there's not many of them round in football, but I was gutted. The atmosphere really was amazing when you used to get going and everything, mate. But in the final, what score prediction are you gonna go with, mate? For tomorrow.
Do you know what? This is the irony. We'll end up beating you tomorrow, and then we'll lose against Brighton on Saturday. That's probably what will happen.
Yeah.
I'm an eternal optimist, mate. Even though my my mind tells me, you're gonna spank us. My heart is telling me we'll get a result out of you. And I think if we go at you, and we go at you pretty fast early on, and sort of put you under the crush. I mean, look what Shrewsbury done, to you guys at the weekend. They just went. They had nothing to lose. They just went. And I know that was your B team out there, but they just went at you. And if we do that, if we put you under pressure, I mean, that stadium, it ain't the bowling, but there have been times when the atmosphere has been good, and it's an evening kickoff under the floodlights. Who knows?
Football's a very funny game, mate. And we're not going to sit here and say anything could really happen in terms of we play our game, we can win it, but it's another test for Jürgen's men. We just keep on saying every single game we've got to tick off.
I'm going to say we're going to win 2-1.
Yeah.
And I know all your followers are going to laugh at me.
No, you never know. You never know, mate.
Your prediction?
I think it will be a tight one. I think even a 1-0 or 2-1 or a 3-1. But, mate, I'm not expecting, like I said to obviously the lads at Sheffield, and I think it's just another game by game, mate. Obviously, all our other Liverpool fans were just enjoying the rides, but we're not getting ahead of ourselves. I know you look at social media and obviously, but we know what we've done over the last couple of seasons, one game at a time, and it's boring. I think Klopp keeps on saying it's boring, but that's all you've got to look at. You don't want to be disrespectful to your opposition, really, fans, and really so. But I think another challenge. It'd be a very exciting challenge, mate. David Moyes, I don't think he'll want to roll over against Liverpool.
No, he certainly won't, will he?
No, it'll make it very, very difficult to play him, mate. But nice one for coming on, mate.
My pleasure. Yeah. And like we said, we'll get you on our show in a few weeks' time as well.
Yeah, definitely. We'll do it even a post-match video or something. And
even that. Yeah, excellent.
All right, everyone, thank you very much for watching. If you're watching up to those points, absolute legends. Leave all the links for Stel and everything from all the lads at the Hammers channel anyway down in the comment section. So head over to their channel. Make sure you comment you're from over there anyway. But thank you very much, mate, for taking the time out. And
my pleasure, mate.
I'll speak to you very soon.
Bye, guys.